Good afternoon, ladies and gents, all over the world. We are back with the sixth episode of Automart TV, sponsored by Automart Extravaganza, the number one online marketplace for vehicles for sale worldwide. If you have a car, SUV, truck, or bike for sale and you have not advertised it yet on this new online marketplace, you can go to www.automartextravaganza.com, subscribe for free, become a member of this automotive networking platform, and post your vehicles for sale. Easy as one, two, three. For this very lovely Wednesday afternoon, we have Trevor Thorpe back in the online studio with us to talk about the latest motoring news. The time is 2:30 p.m. here in Barbados, where we live broadcast our new talk show, the Automart TV, featuring important news, reviews, tips, and information related to the automotive industry. Check us out on Facebook. Search for Automart TV. And Trevor, hi, and welcome again in the Automart TV talk show.
Thank you. Thanks for the welcome.
Thank you for being here again and showering us with your knowledge. How are you doing today? Had a good day so far?
It's been a very, very busy day. Very, very busy, but I'm surviving.
And the heat is not merciful on us. There's been
As
some
long as, long
flash
as you have,
floodings here in
yeah,
Barbados recently, but
as long as you have to leave the buildings anywhere you may be, then you have problems with heat.
that's right. But at least we don't have rain today. It's very lovely and hot here in Barbados. So thanks again for joining us today. Tell me, Trevor, what is happening in the automotive industry? Let's start with the Western Hemisphere. What's happening in the automotive industry across the Caribbean in Barbados?
The rain is going to fall on the industry very soon because there's a tropical wave approaching the island and it will affect Barbados and then the rest of the Caribbean. So we're expecting rain between tonight and tomorrow, and then it'll make its way up through the Caribbean island chain. That is what's happening. Um, what is happening? A lot is happening in the automotive industry in Barbados. I don't want to speak for the Caribbean. I don't think I
Let's
want to.
let's focus on Barbados. You
Mhm.
are a local citizen
Yeah, but
of
there's a
this
lot
area.
there's a lot happening in the Caribbean. Barbados has the Caribbean. The most recent thing is the entrance of the electric vehicles, the full electric vehicles. Courtesy Garage just opened their um, EV department last Thursday, and it's been so far so good. I'm told that there is a groundswell of interest from people who are wanting to move from the internal combustion engine to the electric vehicle. Some gone hybrid as well, but the EV what's getting the focus from most people these days, and those persons new to it wanting to find out what you do or how you maintain and things like that. So Curtis was at pains last week, and since then, making sure that all those interested and those who are contemplating on transitioning from the internal combustion engine, which is what we know of, to electric vehicles, that is a smooth transition, and they need no fear.
Is it happening here in Barbados? You are
Yes,
actually implementing the EVs, the electric vehicles, with great
they are.
success. It's just
Yeah,
baby steps right now, right? All over
the
the
elec
world.
the electric vehicles are here. They are now catching on. They are not a lot. I believe that it's good to say about probably about a 5% so far, but that 5%, and that is a conservative 5%, 1% that I would venture to say, because there are other people in the marketplace. There's Mega Power, who are the agents for Tesla and MG. Um, Courtesy NASCO Limited, they're agents for the Prius, and now they've got the other elect hybrid vehicles like the RAV4 and the Corolla. A Corolla is coming in 2021, a fully electric as well. And you've also got the other players in the marketplace who are coming on stream and getting in on the EV marketplace as we speak.
That's super exciting. I think it means a new innovation for the whole automotive industry, and facing the challenges of the climate crisis. Basically, that could be one solution, maybe that is provided from the side of the automotive industry. However, I recently studied that Europeans, for instance, face EV crisis. Frankfurt had recently the auto show in Germany, and they armed with a raft of new electric vehicles and a message to deliver to policymakers that these cars will not solve the climate crisis alone. What is your opinion about this?
No, no, they would not, because moving from from fossil fuel to electric, and we have a moratorium of 2030 to be fossil fuel free. But that is just a small, just the tip of the iceberg, because there are other things in the industrialized countries that will help to um, run negatively to what the other folk are doing with regard to cars. Cars just a small equation of that, and it will still be a while before before everything is electric. There's always the transition, and what will you do with the internal combustion engine cars? That has been so from time immemorial. So you're going to have to look at how you will dispose of those, and there'll still be people using them, because prices are going to be high with the electric vehicles until the technology becomes more commonplace and the prices come down. And that is, the prices will come down in Europe and the USA. They wouldn't come down in the Caribbean, in the consumer nations, because that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's how governments make money on duties and things like that.
Yes, and this is just one aspect. Like auto manufacturers use the show, for instance, here in Frankfurt, to make clear that product availability is only one factor, and customers must now complete the environmental equation by switching to the new technology. But we can say this, Trevor, it's quite a big step, right? Like for the whole humanity, this is like changing our whole way of thinking and the aspects of switching to a more sustainable way of living, related to the automotive industry as well. Of course, the EV cars, the vehicles, they mean, as you mentioned, a sort of solution, but this won't be enough to reduce the CO2 emission,
But
because
the thing is that the world, we were like this from time immemorial, from the beginning of things. I'm a little concerned that some of us trying to behave as though it's such a it's so much urgency involved, when we were like this all along, and the manufacturers are still producing and building the internal combustion engine cars. The production of the cars as we know it are still higher than the production of electric vehicles.
that is the problem, in my opinion, since they make these new EV cars so extremely expensive that it's basically not really available for the general public. What sort of solution do you see that these manufacturers should implement in order to make these electric vehicles available for the general public, so we can then all together work on a more sustainable life?
It is a business, so that is what will be driving all the efforts in the industry. In Japan, there's the driverless car and all those things, but then to get the rest of the world to that level is going to take time. It didn't take the Japanese didn't do it over a weekend. They were doing this as a production for themselves. But you will have to. It's a business deal and a business decision as to how you transition from the cars as we know it, the internal combustion engine vehicle, to a hybrid and to fully electric. And it is okay for talkers to say all sorts of things. It is good bragging rights at a motor show when a manufacturer says, or we have now produced a fully electric vehicle, and its battery, its radius is uh, far more or far greater than what you had in the marketplace before. I think the Leaf has a 470 mile um, distance. There's a word for it, but that is they go for 470 miles on a charge. So if you're in a small country like you're in the Caribbean, and not
Like
all
in
the Caribbean
Barbados.
islands, and not all the Caribbean islands are small.
That's true.
You've got you, and some are mountainous, so the same amount of draw will not be the same as
Yes.
Barbados as in Dominica. So, but
Yes.
what the thing is that they've got the batteries with a longer life than they first had when they first started. So you will those are the things that at motor shows the manufacturers are boasting about. Well, they've produced an electric vehicle, but the catch is that their electric vehicle, because of the power of the battery, they have a longer battery life per charge per cycle than others in the marketplace, and charging on the fly, which is you say if you once you have your business sorted out, you won't have to worry about charging or running out of power before you get back to your home base or wherever you are going back to. But all those things are work in progress and bragging rights for manufacturers because everyone is trying to outdo the other. So once,
Yes.
as long as you are seen or you can see that you can do better than the other fellows or the others in the marketplace, or while you're trying to do better, those in the marketplace that may be lying dormant or not, or have had, or would have produced or introduced something, they'll be also back at the drawing board, trying to make good of what they've got in the marketplace at the particular interval. So it's a whole maze of things um, covered with
True.
the production of the internal combustion engine and the production of the EV um, vehicles as well as the hybrids. So the I think the customer, the consumer should benefit in the long run, but benefit there also has its challenges because moving
Indeed.
from the internal combustion engine to the EV doesn't solve any problems. It just creates a new way of getting around. Some other problems
Yes.
will arise as a result of that.
Yes. And then what we are going to do with that unbelievable amount of already produced cars driving around the globe, right? It's we're talking about immeasurable numbers. It's actually overpopulation of the vehicles worldwide. If just we're talking about Barbados, it's such a small island. Let's say comparing to my country, Hungary, my capital is Budapest, and my capital is the size of Barbados. So we're talking here quite of a small island, let's say, and still sometimes when I am moving around the island, I have a feeling like there are more cars than people. I don't know how is that possible, but it's a lot, and it's just Barbados. So if we are looking worldwide, I don't know really where all those materials, the waste, the actual body of the car, where are they gonna go, and how are we going to reuse them or make some sort of renewable strategy for them? But it's quite immeasurable at this moment, the improvement of how we can switch really in this technology, because social critics chide the transportation sector for not making any meaningful progress over the past 2 decades to reduce its absolute CO2 footprint. The shift in demand from more carbon friendly diesels to gasoline cars in 2017, along with a rising market share of SUVs, released a decade long trend of falling new car CO2 emissions. Last year, for instance, industry wide emissions actually rose by 2 grams to 120.4 gram per kilometer. So it is still not quite what I guess what we aim to reach at the end. But as you said, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's already been in progress for more than 2 decades.
Mm. It'll probably what I think will happen as or accrue out of this is that a new set of entrepreneurs will be born because to get rid of the existing cars population in the world will cause someone to think of something, or if they haven't been thinking of already, what can be made from the engines, like blocks from aluminium and things like that, as well as from the galvanized metals that you use for making bodies, those kinds of things. So someone may well be looking at another avenue for enterprise, and that would I would think that would help to solve the problem that we are going to be faced with sooner rather than later. Because, excuse me, if we in Barbados we are talking about being carbon neutral by 2030, we've got lots of vehicles here. We've got more vehicles here than some islands in the Caribbean have a population, because our
Yeah,
vehicle population is close to 170,000, and those are the registered units on the road. That has
that's
nothing to do with
insane.
those. Yeah, that has nothing to do with those that are on the dump heap or some that not working. And
Exactly.
added to that, that is our own problem. But there fields in Japan that have new vehicles never used. They're stacked, haven't been sold, and what to do with those vehicles, because I see it every day. And they've got those vehicles, they would like to get rid of them. But they're gonna have someone will have to come up with an idea of disposing of them or using the metals from that are used with engines and bodies, and find a way of finding another use for them so as to compensate for the shortfall that you wouldn't want to use them anymore. And outside of that, then what are the oil producers are going to do with the oil? Because oil
Indeed.
is in the ground.
Yes. And nowadays they have uh, less use of it than it's been in the golden years, the golden ages. We have a question from one of our viewers on Facebook. What is a hybrid? Can you?
A hybrid is a gas and the normally aspirated engine with half and half. Half normally aspirated, half electric. That's a hybrid. The full
Yes.
electric is all electric, no camshafts or anything in the under the hood. A hybrid still has a partly internal combustion and the electronic side of it. That you start the vehicle, you start driving on the internal combustion, and when it reaches a certain speed, it cuts over to the hybrid section of it, and it will remain like that, which gives you better fuel consumption because it shuts down the internal section. Then we slow it down, it comes back and works from that engine again. So hybrid is as it says
It's a
hybrid,
mix. Is a
part
is a hybrid.
part
Yes.
part yeah, part internal combustion and part
Part
electric.
EV. Part
Yes.
electric. There's another very interesting and innovative question from one of our viewers. If can existing vehicles be converted from gasoline diesel consumption to EVs? Would that be possible?
Yeah, it is possible, but is not a straightforward thing because I put that question to some technocrats. I think either at a motor show, either here or overseas. Yes, it's possible, and one of the transport board buses have been transformed from from the internal combustion to electric.
Wow.
So it is possible, but it is not cheap, and it's not an easy do also, but it can be done.
It can be done, and they are doing it already in Barbados or in the
Yeah,
United States,
we have an
maybe.
electric bus already that was built here and tested as well, and will be put into service if it's not gone into service already. We did
That's
it. We
wonderful
did it.
news.
We did it.
So it is very much possible.
Yes,
Uh,
it is possible.
So you think that would be one way how to take care of all those existing gasoline diesel consumption cars, maybe to
That would that
transform
is
them?
that would that is that yes, yes, it can be done, but can the average person afford to have their vehicle
Yes.
transform from the internal combustion to a hybrid? Because that is what you would be able to do with
Yeah.
the existing vehicles, move them from where they are to a hybrid. I guess as the technology grows, there'll be it will be easier in another year or two, or maybe sooner, that would probably be possible at a fraction of the cost that it is today. But
Yeah.
everybody wouldn't do it because you will still have people who don't like the electric vehicle and have this foiber. If they get stranded out of the country, they can't get home. If you run out of gas with your internal combustion engine, all you need to do is get some gas, put it in, and you're off again. If you shut down with an electric vehicle out of the country, good night, nurse. You gotta put it on a record and take it home.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there are
There's,
those persons, and it has nothing to do with age. There are some who are senior folk who like the idea that you don't have to buy gas any longer, and that's only because they're not buying gas. But then they haven't factored into the equation that the vehicle has to be charged. There's also another topic brewing or growing, that you may be able to buy a portable charger and have it with you, so that in the event that you had to be out for longer than you thought you would have, or go longer than you thought you would have been required to go, that you can charge their vehicle wherever you are, so that
just
you
like
would
you
be
you Mhm.
so they won't be left in the cold. So you those there's a number of things. It is not a straightforward answer or straightforward fix, but yes, you can convert the internal combustion engine to a hybrid, and yes, we have we have created and built an electric bus here in Barbados, and it's been tested already. I know the folk, Mega Power are the ones behind it, and my friend Dan Johnson, he's the technical engineer who spearheaded the product. And you can, and so you, and before you can do all of that, and still, what will probably have you would have to do is look straight a happy medium between electric, hybrids, and the internal combustion engine, because there will still be, for as long as I can see, there'll still be the internal combustion
Demand.
engine vehicles,
Yes.
because they are still in production.
Yes, as long as they don't stop their production, what are the car industry expecting from the audience? Like they're putting it out there to for being available, and yeah, yet who gonna save
And
the
they're
world,
still digging,
right?
and they're still digging oil as well. They're still mining oil.
Yes.
So
Uh,
there
uh,
will always be a market for it.
uh,
What will happen, I think, may be that you may have get a turning. There may be more electric vehicles in time to come than the internal combustion engine. But I
yes.
don't think you will ever see the end of the internal combustion engine, because not only that, look at it this way: you've got factories and production plants that have engines in it that using diesel and other things like that.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes, they will be converted at some time using using clean energy, but when you have to find a way that you can be able to store that energy, because when you've gone into the winter time, it's not the
Exactly.
Caribbean that we
It's,
have the eternal summer. That you
yeah.
have summer all year round. There are places on Earth that you've got winter. You've got places like I have friends in Iceland that they hardly see the sun. It's
Yes,
snow all year round.
half of the year is dark, completely dark in those.
So how are you going to use
Yeah.
energy from the sun, like we
Yes.
are making this fuss down here, to drive
Yeah, it's easier.
industry? Because if you
Yes.
want all you're talking about, you have to be able to drive industry, and the same companies that are building the internal combustion engines will be looking at ways of reducing their carbon footprint by using renewable energy on their roofs. But then
Yeah.
inside, what about the other things?
Yes.
I think it's a fad. It's a new thing that people are jumping on or have jumped on. But it should be, what we should do is try to strike a balance and have a nice relationship between the internal combustion engine, the hybrid, and the
And
EV.
the electric car. Exactly. My last question coming up to you during this lovely conversation, Trevor. Thank you. Are EVs already used on the car racing circuit?
None as yet. Formula One, Formula One has a test bed with Mercedes. I think theirs is a hybrid, and but I believe that you will have to you have to wait and see, because all of them have not made the change. Some are looking at the conversion. Some are looking at costs of running vehicles. So if you can do that, I guess that will happen in time. But you haven't seen any of the. There's no widespread. It's only in Formula One, as far as I know. There are none in World Rally Championship, British touring car, German touring car, nor Japanese touring car.
Thank you very much for this very insightful, exciting conversation about the EVs, the electrical vehicles. That's the new wave. That's the future, ladies and gentlemen. We just hope that the governments of the several various countries will be making it more and more available for the general public by making reachable prices, putting reachable prices on them.
It's
Yes,
duties.
it
It's
is their
duties.
duty,
Duties. Yeah. But
indeed.
there is hand holding where that is concerned, and the duties are lower for in Barbados for the EV and the hybrid vehicles than they are for the the normally aspirated engines.
Very interesting. Yes. Well, congratulations to Barbados that already implemented that EV bus. It's an electrical bus, and hopefully, more and more people can try it if it's already in service.
We have electric buses in service. Not only that, not only the one that was built here,
Hmm.
we've got a fleet of new of electric buses on the roads as we speak here in Barbados.
Yes, I've seen a few of them already, and it amazes me. They look very comfortable. Haven't traveled on one yet. Did you try them already?
No, I drive my car.
Yes, of course you do. Well, comparing to the good old reggae buses, I'm sure it's a brand new experience for all the customers across Barbados, and I can't wait to try it as well. Thank you very
Yes.
much, Trevor, for taking time and talking with me
You
this
too.
afternoon, Wednesday, on the 30th of September. Again, ladies and gents, if you would like to be a guest on this very exciting Automart TV show about the automotive industry, just visit us on our Facebook page, Automart TV, or visit www.automartextravaganza.com. And under the groups/TV section, fill out the promo interview guest form, send us an email at automartextravaganza@gmail.com. Get in touch, view this awesome show from today, and we'll be back again with more later on. Thank you. God bless you all.